Finance News. Let's talk fixed income and money market securities. Federal government of Nigeria, through the Debt Management Office, has announced the subscription window for the federal government savings bond. Opens every first full week, and that full week I mean Monday through Friday, for the two offers you're seeing on your screen here, 2-year and the 3-year. 2022, January 2022, 2027 is the maturity date for the 2-year, which is of course 2 years from now. And then the 3 years from now, 17.23% per annum, that's the PA, 18.23 for the 3-year. It opened on Monday, which was yesterday, the 13th. It closes on Friday. Interest payments are every 3 months, and your coupon payments, you get them April, July, October, and January. The 22 there is the 22nd of every one of those months. Minimum subscription is 5,000 naira. Maximum is 50 million. So for those of you with your New Year resolutions to invest, you have another option there. This was last week. Primary Treasury Bill auction. You see the 91, 182, and 364-day offers there. 50 billion offered for the 91, 80 billion for the 182, 385 billion for the 364. Subscription undersubscribed for the first two, but oversubscribed for the third, and you can see the stop rates, not much of a change there. All right, now let's get to our report. We've been looking at a lot of reports from different asset managers. The latest is from AfriInvest, Beyond the Rhetoric, Transforming Reforms to Tangibles. And this is something that we've been doing. We did it again. We animated the report using Polo AI, text to video prompt. We just said move the arrow from left to right, and that is exactly what the AI did. We've enjoyed doing that. We'll be doing that with every report we get. Anyway, let's get to this discussion now. Muibat Adebayo is a fixed income analyst with AfriInvest Asset Managers. She joins us now to discuss. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and Happy New Year.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you too.
So, your report, very intense. It's a global report. Because of time, we just have to focus on Nigeria and focus on fixed income. We got one chart here I want to start off to ask you the reason why the yield on federal government bonds have trailed that of Treasury bills. So we'll put it up there, but what is the reason for that? Is it because money market instruments by definition have a shorter maturity period and investors are piled in there? What's the situation there with that?
Well, I wouldn't say exactly that.
Okay.
And then I wouldn't also really out because it's all intertwined.
Yeah.
So let's start with how did this even come to be in the first place?
Okay.
Everything started with the MPC decision to start the hiking cycle.
Yeah.
And then we noted that early in the year, in anticipation of the first rate cut, that's the first sizable 400, we saw that markets already started pricing in that rate hike. And we could see that the first auction that actually reflected that was NTB.
Right.
So about a year ago, we would see NTB rates yield be on like single digits, while the bonds be on double digits.
Right.
But since that started, we saw that NTB quickly tracked higher, while obviously other markets would also, trail.
Catch up.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's what happened.
And let's put that chart up one more time. We have the bonds in the blue line. Yep, you've got the average NTB bills in red, and then system liquidity in green. Perfect. Now, do you expect this trend to continue though, where the bonds will trail NTB?
Okay, so first of all, what happened is an abnormally.
Okay.
Because what you would expect is for you to have the higher yields at the, longer tenure.
Right.
So we know that NTB already has higher yield than the bond. It's more like saying it's an inverted curve now.
Okay.
Because this shouldn't be happening.
Right.
And what we'd expect is a correction.
Okay.
To actually, reflect what markets should look like.
Exactly.
So, in this sense, the correction is now a function of what brought this to play and what would change it. So, what brought it to play, as we all saw,
is the monetary policy.
Exactly.
Right.
So, when will that change?
Right. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Perfect. Now, I'm glad you mentioned inversion, because the next chart here, right, FGN yield curve inversion steepens. Now, this might be just a little bit complicated for people. You're taking me back to my CFA classes and economics classes here. Can you, now, okay, so we've got the 2024 year and in light blue, the shorter end of the curve higher than the long end. What is yield curve inversion, first off? What is that?
Okay.
What are we looking at?
So I'll take it from yield curve itself.
Yeah.
what should it look like? So a normal yield curve should progress
Right.
from the short end, mid, long. So
And by short and mid long, you mean the tenures,
tenor,
right?
of course,
All right.
yes.
Okay.
So it should progress lower.
All the way up to higher.
Exactly. So
Right.
what we have now, we are having short to mid end carry higher yields than
Long end.
long end.
Right.
Yes. So that shouldn't be the case.
Okay.
And I would say that what caused this really,
It's back to the monetary
honestly, we
policy
cannot
decisions.
leave that out because,
Yeah.
as I said, NCB started, markets reflecting first before the bond auctions, and then the bond auctions, the papers were mostly from short to mid end of the. I'm talking 29s, 31s. So.
Yes,
we would
right. For our viewers that are not technical, that's
Oh,
29,
my
30
goodness.
years. Yes. Cool. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so it just shows that what the government did was to give what the government did was to borrow
Right.
on short to mid end,
Yeah.
and that was what reflected the rate hike.
Okay.
So let's put it this way: in the primary market, things would happen, rates hike, rates would come down, rates would close higher or lower, and then secondary market would now mirror that. So if I have a normal yield curve that progresses, and then in the auction, I'm seeing that short to mid end of the curve actually I've gone higher in terms of rates. So what would the instruments in the secondary market do? They will also mirror that. So that happened. The instruments there started reflecting what happens in the auction, and gradually we start seeing that the play is mostly on the short to mid end of the curve, and then the long end, not like abandoned, but it's just there.
So investors are really focused on the short to mid.
Because of the high yields.
See, fixed income is it's a topic that you have to really pay attention to, and thank you for breaking things down. But let's move to commercial papers. Okay. Your report points out that there were fewer commercial paper issuances, and I think we have the table perfect. So you've got a reduction in the number of issuances, also a 12% reduction in the amount, and I think although the average discount rate is higher. So what is the reason for this? Why did we have less commercial paper issuances in, and I guess you can also define them for our audience, but why do we have less issuances in 24 than 23?
Okay, so I would start off by saying that CP, that's commercial paper, is to corporate what NTB is to Nigerian government.
Gotcha.
So it's more like I'm borrowing, but then the borrowing is coming from a
corporations.
Yes.
Okay.
So just like NTB, it's within a year. It could be 180 to 70, just not more than a year.
Right.
And so if you're looking at one of the reasons why we had fewer issuances, it would be, first of all, to look at the fact that since the MPR, we've seen rate hikes, yield going up in all market segments, from banking rates, that's the OVN, OPR, and then to NTBs, to bonds. So a corporate coming to the market, obviously we want to match that rate, be competitive, so that investors would want in.
Right.
So if already NTB is giving me yield of 27% or 28%, why should I go for a corporate that has a default risk?
Gotcha.
You understand
that? As opposed to safer borrowing from the government.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And the issue also is, from the investor's perspective now, the UOP of this, that's use of proceed.
Thank you. You have a lot of technical terms
Oh
using, but thank you for explaining it. Thank you.
I'm not trying to.
Thank you. Keep going.
Okay, so the use of proceed now also matters.
Right.
Is it just for operations, capital, operating capital?
Yeah.
Is it to also
to pay down debt? No, right.
Exactly. Or is it to invest, do with the money what banks also do? So if we're looking at, solvency ratios, liquidity ratios, how can they even cover what they're trying to come to market to get?
Yeah.
So from their perspective, an investor's perspective, I think we can, find a midpoint there to say.
Thank you for the breakdown. Excellent. So it's more expensive for these corporates to issue these in a higher yield environment. All right. You also have in your reports a strategy for investors where you've listed out, what to do with this particular tenure. So I think you've got 80% exposure to sovereigns. Yeah, you got 20% to corporates. You just talked about corporates just now. Just if you can summarize, what are you basically telling investors and how to put their money when it comes to fixed income?
So
and money markets as well. So yeah.
For everybody else that's risk averse like me,
Yeah.
I would say sovereigns would take most.
And by sovereigns we mean
governments.
Countries, thank you, governments, yeah. Yeah.
Compared to the corporate.
Right.
And I mean, it's so obvious why that is.
Yeah.
It's safe and all that. And liquidity as well.
Gotcha.
So, and then for playing that's the tenure now.
Yeah.
I already mentioned that to lock in higher rates, we might want to look at the mid end. So if I'm getting high yields in the mid end, why should I even want to go anywhere else?
Further, longer,
so
yeah.
I can lock in high yields and expect a correction,
right.
because already we've established that there's an inversion.
Yeah.
So if I lock in high rates, and then there, this inverse relationship between price and yield.
And yield, yep.
Exactly. So if I already have high rates, and then a correction happens, what that does for me is capital gain on the price.
Right.
So it's like a win-win situation. So yes, I'll take sovereigns more, and then I'll lock in high yields.
Perfect. We talked about we showed the latest savings bond offer. I wanted to get your take on saving bonds in general, and whether, of course, Nigerians should be putting their money there.
Okay, so I somewhat have this feel for savings bond.
Okay.
Being that from the name itself, savings,
You're
save me.
Right.
Because not everybody can actually play in the NTB and...
Which is 50 million naira.
You get it.
Yeah.
So the minimum there is...
5,000.
As little as that.
Yeah.
And you can earn up to 17, 18. So why should you not?
Right.
So if I can play in that market with my little money and get, the
yield?
rates.
Yeah.
And then I get paid coupon as well, just like the bonds.
Yeah.
And I can plan what my coupon would do for me whenever it comes. So yes,
Yeah.
I'll go for it. It's a good one.
Great one. Finally, I guess last week's primary T-bill auction, I guess it's bi-weekly or so. What did you make of, I guess, the movement in rates? And what's your trajectory? What's your outlook for rates for the NTB going forward?
Okay, so it's still a function of
the
I
NPR.
come back again, yes.
The monetary policy
I
rates.
mean, this is the genesis of everything.
Yeah.
So from the last auction, we saw that it reclined just a little to 22.622 from 22.9.
Yeah, that's the 364 paper, right?
Yes,
okay.
Because on the mid to short end, we're not seeing
movement.
about 4 to 5 auctions now.
Yeah.
No. So that's to say that I think the rates have somewhat reached a plateau.
Okay.
That, once something has been stretched, how more can
you go? Right.
do you understand? So
Yeah.
I think we've gotten to that point that their yields would actually, not that they would maybe decline or steep low, but we are at that point that, okay, we would just have a flattish.
Okay.
Because if a rate cut does not happen, because rate cut happening is even another discussion entirely,
right.
with the ripple effect on FX stability, inflation, because that's the reason why...
hiking,
exactly.
Right, yeah.
So if that is not in play in near term, I don't see these elevated yields that we have currently. I don't see them
being maintained.
I don't see them.
Fantastic stuff. Adebayo Muibat, AfriInvest asset management fixed income analyst. Thank you so much for breaking down the fixed income money market space. Very interesting, and we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.